mamas, Alexandria here, a 34-year-old toddler mom, therapist, and gym rat. I lost nearly 40 pounds postpartum and it changed my life. So my goal is to help others transform their lives and meet their goals. I did share my story here recently on the channel, so I'll link that in a card for you down below, as well as part 1 of this video, because today we are going to do 5 more things that I stopped doing to lose weight. So this is part 2, and I will link part 1 in a card for you. So if you are ready, let's get started. So today I'm going to share, I think I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I have 5 things again. So today I'm going to share with you 5 things that I stopped doing in order to lose weight. And like I said, I lost nearly 40 pounds, and I wanted to share a part 2 with you because I had more to say and you guys seem to enjoy this video. If you missed part 1, I will leave that linked for you so you can go check it out at the end. But let's get into it. So one thing that I stopped doing is I stopped eating out as often. And when I reflect back on like what I was like and how I was living before, I would eat out for typically several meals in a day, not just one. And I think, if you are in a weight loss journey, depending on, what your calorie goals are and what your macro goals are, you can get away with eating out maybe one of the meals a day. But I don't think you can get away really with like 2 to 3 meals a day, just because it's really hard to get the proper nutrients in when you're going out to eat, because they like to make food taste good. Obviously, it makes sense. That's the whole point. But unfortunately, they don't give a crap about your goals or your macros when they're making this delicious food. Like some of the foods that they make, I can't wrap my brain around how it has so many calories. Does that make sense? Like some of the vegetable entrees you'll see will have like 200, 300, 400 calories. I'm like, how is that even possible? I don't understand. But it is, because they add lots of extra butter and salt and all sorts of other crap that it doesn't need to make it taste good. And so I've stopped eating out as much. Typically, if I'm going to eat out, it will only be for one of my meals in that day. The other thing to consider in this is that you don't have to live with the status quo at a lot of restaurants, particularly if you're eating, at a fast food restaurant. You can make customizations. We are living in the age and era of customization. And so if you don't like the way a sandwich is packaged from a protein perspective, maybe you're making bread swaps, maybe, you're choosing to do different options. Not every restaurant has these things, but certainly in the age of customization that we live in, you can customize sometimes your sandwich, sometimes, you can definitely customize your Starbucks drink. You can make choices and swaps when you're ordering so that you can still eat the foods that you like and they don't have such a dent in your nutrition. The next thing I did is I stopped viewing food in reference of being a treat. Do I still enjoy food? Absolutely. Are there still foods that I enjoy more than other foods? Absolutely. But as a general rule, I stopped viewing food in the frame of like a treat or a reward for a big workout or something along those lines. And I started seeing food as fuel and food for what it was. Food is intended to fuel and energize our bodies. And so, what you eat is going to impact your energy levels. And that's important when you think about like, what am I putting in my body? If you're drinking like 4 cups of coffee and you're still tired, it's probably because you haven't eaten enough like nutrients to feel full and give you energy, because food is supposed to give you energy. So when you think about, my mind just totally went blank. So when you give food more power in different contexts than others, like let's say you give candy more power or desserts more power, it makes it more tempting, or it makes it feel less sustainable. And when we get our heads wrapped around like this notion of we can't have things or we can only earn certain things, then we get stuck in an all or none mindset. And then what we're left with is a frustration that we can't have what we want. And then we give up and we quit. And we don't want to quit, right? We're working hard to meet our goals, and so we don't want to give up. And one of the ways that we do that is by maintaining that balance. And you do that by not giving food too much power. Take your power back. The third thing I stopped doing is I stopped using coffee creamer so much. And this one is just a small swap and an example of, one of the things that you can do that feels like that can be like an easy swap, kind of like we talked about in number 1. But coffee creamer was a big one for me, particularly as someone who really likes coffee, I know not everybody feels as passionately about coffee as I do. I'm not a coffee snob. I'm just like, I need the coffee. I don't like when coffee is too weak, but otherwise I'm not very particular. Like, give me the coffee. Just give it to me. And it is what it is. I say all that to say that, when I eliminated creamer, it's because of the dent that it was putting in my calorie budget, but wasn't giving me the joy or satisfaction of anything. For example, different coffee creamers sometimes have upwards of 35 or 45 calories per tablespoon. And if you're not measuring that out, you could end up with, 100 plus calories from coffee creamer. And if you're drinking 2 or plus cups of coffee, right, you're looking at 200 extra calories that didn't do anything for you and really didn't even make your coffee taste that much better. So they're just better uses of your calorie budget, but certainly, like, if you want to use coffee creamer, go for it. I'm not saying that you can't, but that's one of the things that I cut out for the most part. I still occasionally, particularly during the holiday season, will have some creamer in my coffee, but a tablespoon of coffee creamer does not go very far. Like, it's not a sizable amount. Like, to even taste the creamer, you need probably 2 to 3 tablespoons. And at 45 a pop, 45 and 45 is 90. So what is that, 135 calories? Did I do that math right? I'm no math whiz. I'm a therapist, y'all. I don't do math. So, you're looking at 130 something calories for a cup of coffee. And then you've had 2 of those. So, you're up to 300 calories almost from your cups of coffee in the morning, and it didn't serve you in any way. So it's not to say that you can't have those things, but making those small cuts and small changes can have a big impact, particularly when you're trying to live in a certain macro or a certain calorie budget or goal. The next thing I stopped doing is snacking so much. I found that I was most successful in my weight loss journey when I physically sat and ate a meal at the table. Like, I sat and I ate a whole meal and I felt full. Because oftentimes what would happen is I would eat a little something at the table, but then because I didn't eat a full meal, I'd be hungry, so I'd want to grab a snack, and then I'd get busy doing other stuff, and then I'd be snacking and doing something else, working, playing with my son, whatever that thing is, right? I would get busy trying to do multiple things at the same time, and then I'm mindlessly eating, and then I don't really have any sort of sense of what I'm putting into my body. So I found that when I would sit at the table and eat bigger meals, 3 larger meals, as opposed to, more frequent smaller meals, it kept me full for longer, so I didn't think about food so much. If I only ate smaller amounts multiple times a day, I just felt like I had to eat too often, and I was always staying hungry. Now, that doesn't work for everybody. Some people and some digestions prefer frequent smaller meals, and that's okay too if that's what works for you. But what worked for me is eating larger meals and actually feeling full, so that I didn't have to turn around and eat a snack 20 minutes after I got up from the lunch table. And the last one is eating out of a bag. This may sound silly. Now, of course, there are individual portion bags that you can get at the store. You can buy the single portions of things. But oftentimes, particularly things like chips or pretzels or, those sort of snack foods that come in those big bags, the nutrition on the back is not based on the whole bag, right? It's based on a serving of the bag. They don't want to put the whole bag, because if they did, you'd be like, holy. And so they don't. And so they give it to you by a portion. And I found that when I would eat out of the bag, and don't tell me y'all don't eat out of the bag. If you tell me you don't, you're lying, okay? I would eat out of the bag, and then I didn't really have a sense, again, of how much I was eating in one sitting, because you're just sort of eating and snacking. And, I feel like now, because I've just known how to do this for a while, it comes much more naturally than it did at the beginning, because you can learn, and you don't always have to track forever and always. You certainly don't have to do it. You will learn, and you will be able to see as time goes, oh yeah, this is about how much this is. You'll be able to eyeball it much more easily because you've done it so many times, and you'll be able to know and learn. And so a lot of times that's what I will do now. But for the first little while, I would just measure it out, right? Like, if I want a serving of, let's say, chips, I would go and I would get myself a bowl, and I would measure out a bowl of chips, and I would take that bowl of chips with me. It's not to say I couldn't have more chips later. It's just to say that in this sitting, I'm going to have this bowl of chips. Now, if I want more later, I can always go back and add that in, but at least I know how much I got as opposed to just like eating chips out of the bag. Because it's really easy to get lost in that like mindless eating, or like I was talking about a minute ago, you get busy, you're helping your kid with something, maybe you're watching TV, whatever, you're distracted. And when you're distracted, you're not paying attention to, oh, well, a serving is 12 chips. Oh, crap, I'm at 18. You lose track of that. So if you portion it out beforehand, then you don't run the risk of overeating it because the bowl is empty. And then if you want to refill, you got to go refill it back in the kitchen, right? So those are 5 more things that I did to help me lose weight. 5 things I stopped doing that helped me lose weight. So if you enjoyed this, YouTube should be recommending something for you. And again, I'm going to plug the video one more time in case you missed it. I'll link it in a card, part 1. And so YouTube should be recommending something on the screen for you if you did enjoy the video. And I will catch you soon. Bye, guys.